Start the party.
You're listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, live with Josh Kimmel and Leighton Harrington. If you want to be a part of our show tonight, call 419-549-5744.
Would you like to optimize your success out in the field? Metal detecting and gold prospecting? One word: Coil Tech. They've been manufacturing high-performance aftermarket coils for years now for popular models such as the E-Track, the Sovereign, the Explorer series, the GPX series, and our favorite, the 10x5 for the CTX 3030. Great target separation in trashy areas, still maintaining excellent depth for the coil size. Coil Tech is optimizing discovery, your potential for success in the field. You can check them out at coiltechmanufacturing.com.au. All right, we're back, we're live, all that happy stuff. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, Metal Detecting and Treasure Hunting Radio. And let's see here, we've got Miss Aggie in the chat. We've got a couple of guests in the chat, Homefinder, Suki, Swansea is in the chat, front and center. So, with that in mind, we all know me, and obviously we all know the always hoping to get out there and dig here lately co-host. How is it going, Captain Leighton?
It's going pretty good. Pretty good, my friend. Yes, I know. I wish I could say I was out there, but again, the dirt eludes me. Today was another big crazy day out there doing my lawns. So,
wow.
Crazy stuff today. Crazy stuff. But we will save a little snake story for later on.
Sounds like maybe we've got a couple of snake stories for the weekend.
That's right. That's right. We've got some snake stories, and as long as you don't speak with a forked tongue, we're good to go. How are you doing tonight?
All right. It's about 88 degrees in the shade of the studio here.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. We did not get no 88 degrees here today. I did see 82 in the center of town, about 15, 20 miles from here. I am on the coast, as you all know. So we were down to like 75, or should I say up to 75. So it wasn't too bad. Nice southwesterly breeze today. Perfect fishing day. I can feel a cold coming on for tomorrow. Just saying.
Just saying. Going, oh, I feel not so well.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I'm sure it'll all go away. Remember those days when you were a kid and you were in school, feeling really sick? You went down to the office, they put you on the bench, take your temperature, send you home. Man, I used to fly out of that school.
It was a great cure-all, right?
Oh, it was the best. Better than cough medicine. It was great.
Didn't taste as bad either.
Hey, I remember growing up on that Vicks Formula 44 stuff. Ew.
You ever have Buckley's?
No. Well, it doesn't even sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if I remember right, their slogan is, "It tastes bad, but it works."
That's not good.
It's
what
like
a heck of
drinking pine needles.
With molasses.
Yeah, and it really does taste like pine needles.
I'm good. Hey, You can have my serving, buddy.
Yeah, no Kung Pao there.
Right. That's right. Anyway, did you get out? Have you had a chance to get out or what? What's going on?
I did.
All right.
I did get out. What was that? Monday.
Okay.
Monday, I got a call. A person had lost an item, and somebody had contacted a friend of mine wanting to know if they could possibly recover this.
Mm-hmm.
And they told him, said, well, where is it? And they said, well, it's in the water. And at that point, he said, well, I can't do that. But I think I know someone who can. So he called me. I got in contact with the guy, and the guy tells me that it's in 4 or 5 feet of water.
Nope, that's the trick word right there. 4 or 5.
Well,
yeah.
I get out there, and this is a sloping area, apparently.
Oh, so what he really meant to tell you is add 4 and 5, not 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. You go 4
exactly.
feet in.
Yeah.
And then once the water's about 4 feet high, you take another step and go another 5 feet deeper.
Right, there you go. So 9 feet of water later. You know, that's how we do it here in the East Coast, you know. When the wind is out of the north, this is a general rule of thumb for any captain or fisherman. When the wind is out of the north, right, it's nice and flat, calm. 2 things to keep into perspective. The further offshore you go, the bigger the waves are. It's a beautiful ride out there, but coming back sucks. And the other thing is, when they say 5 to 10 out of the north, any direction whatsoever, 5 to 10 does not mean 5 to 10. 5 plus 10 is a bare minimum.
Yeah,
So,
going 5 to 10 on top of.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get out there, I find out I'm on a sloped area, because the first step takes me in over my ankles. The next step, I'm over my knees. Then I'm up to my hips.
Yeah, okay, I can see where this is going. Go ahead.
Yeah, next thing you know, I'm up to my shoulders.
And
then I feel the lip of a drop-off.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you had to throw on your scuba gear. Or a big, long snorkel. About 6 feet long.
Yeah, I was going to need something.
Yeah.
Finally, I told the guy, I said, well, with all the rain, apparently the water level's a little higher here than everybody thought.
Yeah, okay.
And let's face it, once the water goes over my head, I'm pretty much useless at that point, because it's a little hard to swim when you've got a detector in one hand, a stainless scoop in the other, and not willing to let go of either.
Yeah, and you're minus 1 set of things, too, by the way. A set of lungs. Or should I say gills, right? Once you get up over that nose and mouth cavity, it's all over.
Yeah. I mean, never mind the fact that, you know, it would all have to be done by feel at that point anyway, because there's 0 visibility.
Ugh. That's not that polluted pond that you were talking about.
Yep, it's my glowing mud puddle.
Now, when you say mud puddle, is this place huge, or is that just being facetious, or is it really small?
Somewhere in the area of almost 13,000 acres, I believe.
Oh, that thing's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. It, if I remember correctly, it still holds the record as the world's largest man-made reservoir.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, I'll tell you, I don't even see how do and they fish in this place, right?
Yeah.
Well, how in the, I makes you wonder. I got you. I'm assuming it's catch and release if you can catch them.
Well, I don't know. I suppose some people are crazy enough to eat them, but not me. Not this guy.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Not
I'll
today.
I'll tomorrow either. I'll stick to my my Gorton's fish sticks, buddy.
Right, yeah. So wound up that that's a project for another day. I told him I'd side on the air of caution and live to fight another day with it. So we'll make another attempt in the near future. So come home, got the wetsuit off, threw on the Fanatic Charter shirt, and went to hit the dirt for a little bit. But as soon as I got out to that spot, I was stopped by another couple who wants to know if I can find their property markers this weekend. So I'm a busy guy, I guess.
I guess so.
If I was just digging to get some goodies for me.
Now, here in New England, our markers are usually made out of brass or bronze, and they're usually about the size of a silver dollar.
Well, around here, usually, well, if you're lucky, they're iron pin.
Okay, so...
But they do some silly stuff here. I had to do a property marker search one time where the one corner of the property was a fence post.
Mm-hmm.
The other property marker was a nail in the root of a tree at the corner of the property.
Oh, man, I give up.
And then the other two corners were iron pin.
Now, you said silly stuff, not ridiculous stuff. There's a difference. That's ridiculous. Did they not think that the tree was going to grow? I mean, let's be honest. In 15, 20, 50, 100 years from now, and the marker might move?
Right.
I'm just saying. You're getting me all fired up already, and I just got here. Come on. Work with me, will you? Sheesh.
Well, and I asked these people, because their question was, will that thing find property markers? And I told them, I said, well, that depends.
Right.
Says, well, what's it depend on? I said, well, it depends on what they're made of. I said, some places their property markers were just wooden stakes and, they've long ago rotted away. Mm-hmm. They said, well, this is a fairly recent development, so I would think they're there unless for some reason the contractor moved them. And I said, no, that's not the way it works. I said, if this is recent development, those plots were surveyed, they were marked out by a surveyor, and that contractor cannot remove them by law.
Yeah.
So I said, speaking of which, by law, I can go out there, I can find them for you, I can identify them, mark them, or point them out to you, but that's where I stop. Because I don't dig them up.
Right.
I said, I don't mess with them things. I don't need to be getting in that kind of headache. So that's the way it went. But, maybe we can get into that a little bit on the weekend show. Tonight, though, we've got a guest.
Yes, we do.
Tonight...
Looks like it looks like he finally joined us here.
Yeah. Yeah. Tonight, we've actually got Jack Summers from Radioworld.
Good evening, Jack.
Hey, guys. Good to have you along. I still haven't been able to get a video feed, but what the heck, I'm here anyway.
That's all that counts.
That's right. As long as the audio works, that's the important part.
I'm not so sure my audio is going to get a word edgewise with you two characters, but we'll give it a try.
Well, yeah, we do tend to kind of run on sometimes, but, time flies when you're having fun.
No doubt about that.
Well, we certainly do appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule. I know you're a real busy guy there, buddy, so welcome aboard and thanks for coming on.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm glad to do it, and had I understood that my iPad would not cooperate, I may have been better prepared, but I assume that this was the be-all and end-all of everything I would ever need in life.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I thought the same thing. and then I used it for about 6 months, and it's been sitting on my desk for, well, the last 2 years, pretty much.
Well, they're handy to play with.
Yeah, I guess if you like to play, Jukebox Hero and stuff.
Well, yeah. But, and who knows, maybe that's something we can get into on one of the weekend shows sometime too, is all of the coordinated chaos that can go on sometimes before we go live.
Right.
Well, I have a little bit of experience in the radio production business.
Yeah, so I'm sure that you're no stranger to those last-minute hiccups sometimes.
Or ongoing hiccups as they go. And, I do participate in a live radio show on AM Toronto, and it's also podcast and that other types of ways. It's on the internet and such. And typically you rely on your connection with the director and then with the transmitting station, and it's all coordinated, down to the very second for commercials and stuff. And sometimes those lines just fail, and you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants and trying to figure it out, and that's always fun.
Yeah,
sometimes shows are created that way.
Exactly the point. That there are a lot of variables that are factored in when you try to go live. You've got your connection with your guest, your co-host, your broadcaster, your internet, possibility of a power outage, a phone outage, a computer shutdown, who knows?
Well, I'm certainly no stranger to adversity and overcoming challenges.
There you go.
I miss the days... Jack, I remember, I miss the days, and Josh will tell you the same thing, the good old days of the CB radios. We talked about that. You're in your business there. By the way, I like those Jesus that you got in there just recently. I would love to get back into ham. Oh, my God, I love that stuff.
I was going to say, that's a good unit.
My background and some of my history is amateur radio, ham radio, and I have been involved in that for 25 years or so, and very instrumental in public service, communications, in times of disaster and so on. And it's been, nothing less than a blessing, I think. We really all went through the Y2K experiment where at midnight it was going to over, the computers were going to shut down, and the bombs were going to go off, and nothing was going to happen. And how big of a non-event was that?
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Everybody was afraid to turn on the computer the next day.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, for the entrepreneurs, somebody cashed in. I mean, you had like the survivalists selling the MREs, and everybody was stocking up on any sort of canned goods and ammunition and anything that had a barter value. It was just crazy.
Well, I think that you have a very, very good perspective on exactly what happens south of the border.
Right.
Doesn't happen so much like that in Canada, not to the same extent, but it certainly does happen in America.
Isn't that a nice way that he's putting that we're crazier down here than what they are up there?
Hang on, I can sum that up in 2 words.
I figured you could.
Trump. Clinton.
Yeah, we got you. Loud and clear.
Yeah,
the audio is perfect.
It's a valid point. It's a valid point.
You know what? It's all in good fun and good spirits. I think our best friends, Canada's best friend is United States and vice versa. And sometimes we forget that relationship. We are all people. We're in this together, and there are no strangers anymore. And that's all part of this very, very small place we live in called the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I second that. Here's the thing, right? After 9/11, I mean, people were so friendly to each other, but boy, have we gone back the opposite way again. It's sad.
Right. Yeah. Now you can't even go through an airport and tell the people you're carrying cannons.
Right. That's. I don't know if you caught that the other night there, Jack, but well, if you get a chance, listen to the iPod interview. That was me going through the airport recently when I went to Ohio, and I had a bunch of cannons trying to get through security. So, yeah, it was interesting. Let's just say that.
I bet it was. And I think it is a very, very protective society that we live in. As a matter of fact, metal detecting has lots of different aspects, and I am the Canadian distributor for Garrett security equipment. So that is actually a big part of what I do every day.
Absolutely. I know you just took that on. Did you not, like within the last year or so?
It's been a couple of years.
Okay.
We executed the Pan Am Games, which is the third largest sporting event in the world. It was held in Toronto in 2015, so we managed all of the walk-through metal detectors for that event.
Yeah, see, that's what I was just going to say, was I imagine that not only are you dealing with the hand scanners for security, and especially on something of that scale, you're also dealing with the walk-through scanners.
Absolutely. The magnetometers, it is a big part of what what I do every day. We assist with that, provide equipment, technical support, and training to the NBA, to the NHL, to, all of the big special events. We have them set up in, bars and events and sales, jails, hospitals, logistics centers and such. And every day we are out selling, servicing, and repairing and training for this type of work. So it's all correlated, and it's all fairly relative.
Well, see, it's no wonder he can put on such a coordinated dig, Leighton. He's had a lot of practice.
Well, he has. And speaking of digs, I have had the pleasure to meet Jack. It was a couple of years ago now. But when he does it right. Let's just put it that way. He goes above and beyond.
That's what I hear.
Well, you know what? I think that I've been around the planet for a little while. I like to have fun. I like to enjoy people, and I like to share. So we have, we created the Toronto Metal Detecting Club. It being a loose group of people that just get together and enjoy the hobby and share. And there's nobody that's really in charge that doesn't want to be in charge. There's no hierarchy involved. If you want to do something, let's do it. And let's do it for everybody. So it really took a life of its own. People assisting people having fun, and culminating on that success, we've had the ability to back and organize and move assets into special events like the Pig and Dig, days like Go Mine Labbing events and such.
Right.
And the Toronto area is and the people are very thirsty for organized events, for information, for training, and it's been a fantastic part of the hobby. I think that our last Pig and Dig in 2014, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 350, 380 people at, where we did organized hunts. We did digging contests. We had enough for kids. We had things for old people. We had contests for women and contests for men. We had buried gold. We had some amazing real gold treasures. We had lots of silver. We had lots of coins from around the world. And to top it off, we had a pig roast, and that was fantastic. And what a great event that was.
It sounds like it.
It was a lot of
fun. I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, that's the only hunt that I've ever heard of that's actually given away gold.
I think that was certainly the first. Steve ZMD was the architect behind that, and he did lots of research. And we actually went out and purchased real 99.9 gold and buried it in the ground. And it was
Well, I can see why you had such a great turnout. And you know what? For your first dig, the Pig and Dig, back then in 2014, I've heard nothing but the best results from that. So, that being said, I am really sad on one hand that I didn't make it, but I'll be seeing you soon, my friend.
Yeah, I do believe I saw Leighton kind of shed a tear when he heard there was gold.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, can you imagine that, Jack? I actually cried.
Well, I can imagine that because I know you're a sensitive man.
I am. It's, sometimes it just gets me right in the heart.
No
right, it just hits you right there.
So speaking on that event, special events and stuff, we have organized another event coming up June 25th in Toronto. We have called it the Hunt at Hiawatha. And the reason that we've called it that is because, of course, it's going to be a metal detecting hunt, an event day in Toronto at the Center Island, which is a set of islands on the very south shore of downtown Toronto, about 500, 600 yards off the south shore. Mm-hmm. And originally it was called the Island of the Hiawathas. And that was named after the native Canadians, the native Indians back in the day. It was originally a shifting sandbar that blew in over the 16th, 17th, and 18th century, where it finally landlocked itself and was big enough that it actually turned itself into an island. And it became very rich in history. It was inhabited. They had all kinds of people and events on it. They had a baseball stadium back in the day in the 1880s and 1890s that held 10,000 people. Wow. And as a matter of history and course, it was the place that Babe Ruth hit his very first professional home run.
Oh, now how cool is that?
That is cool.
This is cool. So it was turned over to the city of Toronto in 1956, where it remains as a parkland. It has had some amazing history to the island. It's been people have been coming and going in that area for hundreds of years. And after it's turned into a park, a lot of that digging stopped, and all the history that remains in the ground. So we're going to do some seated hunts there. We're going to do some other types of hunts that are not based on anything that we have planted, but that it's based on actual history. Mm-hmm. We have some guidelines that we're putting together for this. We're going to feed people. We're going to give them food and refreshments. And we have a couple of special guests that have been invited along and that have confirmed 100% participation. And awesome. That's none other than King George Wyant and Tim Ringy Saylor from Diggers.
Nice.
So
beautiful.
Those two guys are pretty popular fellows. They're a lot of fun. They're great detectorists, and we're very happy to have them along with Steve Moore, who's the head of marketing for Garrett Electronics, that joined us that day.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be one heck of a put-together for sure. I am definitely going to be there this year.
Yes, you're going to be there. We've got some people coming from coast to coast. I expect people from 5 or 6 of the northern states to join us. I've got people coming from Victoria, British Columbia, Vancouver, British Columbia. We have people coming from hundreds and hundreds of miles away, from Ottawa, from Montreal. They're all going to join us that weekend. And we're going to gather. We're going to tell stories, tell lies, do a little detecting, and come together and have a lot of fun. And that's the whole idea.
Speaking of lies, 2 things. Here's one. Speaking of lies, all fishermen, and I know you're a fisherman, Jack. I see those posts of that beautiful boat you got. So, all fishermen are liars, right? Can we agree there?
Most, yes, most.
Except for me and you, right?
Notice he said most.
Yes.
Except for me and you. And I don't know, buddy. Lately, I think I'd have to worry about you a little bit.
Thank you, I think.
No, and the other thing is, if you wouldn't mind letting the people know, tickets are still available for that hunt at Hiawatha, correct?
Yeah, tickets are available. They're $75 each.
Okay.
If you're coming from that, that works out to about $55-$60 US, and that's everything in for the day. You just need. We'll send you all the details. We're meeting downtown Toronto about 9 o'clock in the morning. We take a ferry ride across to the island and head over to our meeting area, register, and we're ready to roll. You'll be able to find more information about that if they visited blog.radioworld.ca.
Okay.
Oh,
and
nice.
and children 12 and under are
Pains in the ass, but they're only $40 if they're coming.
okay. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Thank God this is Blog Talk Radio.
Exactly. You know what? The truth of the matter is, I say that firmly with my cheek, my tongue buried in my cheek. There's
Yes,
nobody that
lovingly.
loves kids more than me. There's nobody that's more entertaining than me. And ultimately, every event that we do are family-friendly events where the
Yes.
kids take priority.
Right.
As grown men, if you happen to see the kid get the prize and you deserved it, suck it up. We like to play fair, but ultimately, as we get older, it really is all about the kids.
Right. They
It
are,
is
in
all
fact,
about
the
the
future of the hobby.
Unless there's a hot chick there, then it's all about the chicks. Just saying.
Depends on the time of day, right? In the morning,
Yeah.
it's all about the kids. Yeah, come 12, 1 o'clock, it's all about the girls.
There you go.
Oh, man. So you're going to also have, I know you said Steve Moore from Garrett Metal Detectors is going to be there. Obviously, King George and Ringy. Steve Zuzulik will be there, I believe. And
Pete Anderson and Ryan
Yep.
Fazikas from Anderson Metal Detector Shafts.
right.
And I've got a fellow named Bruce Campbell coming. He's coming from Victoria, British Columbia. Bruce
Okay.
is a pretty avid detectorist. He
Mhm.
actually is claimed fame to find the oldest Viking coin in Canadian history.
Wow.
It has been verified, and it is now in the process of changing the history books as to when the Vikings came to Canada.
Amazing.
It is
Nice.
exactly one of those things that, I should not tell the story because I don't know it well enough, but it is a history-changing find,
Mm-hmm.
and Bruce will be there, and he'll be happy to tell the story. He'd be a great person to have on the show sometime.
Yeah, maybe we
Yes,
can.
I've actually heard quite a bit about Bruce.
Yeah, great detectorist. And then there is another wonderful forum called the Canadian Metal Detector Forum. It is a fantastic resource for people. It is Canadian-based. We do have members that come from around the world, people that are going to hunt and detect in Canada or want to share information. That is owned by a gentleman named Daniel. Daniel will be joining us that day. Very, very advanced detectorist. He'll be joining us that day from Vancouver. So, like I said, we've got people coming from all over. We've got newbies coming. We've got kids coming. We've got women coming. We've got families coming. We got old farts coming. We got Americans coming. And that's, altogether, it's going to be a blast.
It sounds like it. It really does. And speaking of some of those that are attending, actually, shout out to the man himself. Steve Z is in the chat.
All right, Stevie.
So, how long have you been detecting, Jack?
Well, I'm not going to tell a lie. I have to be honest and let you know that I've been in the metal detecting business for about 7 years.
Okay.
But I'm not a detectorist. I'm not going to tell you that I don't detect or I haven't detected.
Right.
I have.
But I don't necessarily view myself as a detectorist.
I think that, exactly, that I'll go out in the park and swing a detector every once in a while. I'll go out to an event and I'll play around. But when it comes to the things to do tomorrow, it's not on the top 20 things that come to mind.
Some things take precedence over others. It's all about perspective.
It is. Now, here's what I do appreciate. I appreciate somebody that's committed to their hobby. Everybody needs to have a hobby. If they don't, I think metal detecting is one of the finest ones where I've met some amazing people. I just never caught the bug. My deal in life is I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I am very customer service concentric. So if I need to go the extra mile in doing something that I do, which is provide customer service, so you can enjoy your hobby, that's where I get the enjoyment out of it. Sounds a little cliche, it sounds like a little bit far-fetched, but that's the truth.
No, I'd just say that is dedication to the customer.
Oh, it is, and I can vouch for that on your end there, Jack. I know we're friends and everything, but honestly, when I contacted you and I was in need of the coil for the mine lab, you were right on it, buddy. I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Well, in the big picture, that's easy to do if you phone me between 9 and 5 at the office. But that's never where the calls come from, and that's never when you need it. It's always at 10 o'clock at night on Facebook or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's all part of it. And you can ask anybody that knows me or my family is, hey, where's Jack? Oh, he's at work.
Well, we've got a caller, I think, that would like to speak with you. Go ahead, caller.
Are you taking callers already?
Yes, Steve.
You are. Great. I wanted to call in and tell everybody about my buddy Jack.
Be nice. Be nice.
Uh-oh.
Jack might not detect like the rest of us, but everybody needs a Jack in their life because Jack has done more for probably metal detecting in Canada than a lot of people that I know for sure. Obviously he's our main dealer here in Canada. His company Radioworld has supported me and lots of our friends like unbelievably. He's got excellent service at his store. He's always inviting us to events. His events are awesome. I can't say enough about the guy. He's just been, I don't know if I would have gone as far as I have so far without Jack.
Well, the other point that you missed and skipped over so eloquently, Steve, if you are going fishing and need a few fishing rods, you can always see Jack.
I was worried you were going to say that. There's a story. You might as well tell it, Jack.
Well, I don't need to tell it. All I can say is Steve has been in my office a few times, and for those of you that are trying to visualize my office, it's a 12 by 12 room with a desk, a telephone, a computer, 140 fishing rods, and hockey.
Like
pictures.
Actually.
No,
wow.
140 fishing rods and reels, and hockey pictures, and that's all about. That's my office. And
so it's kind of standing room only.
You got a lot of fishing rods here, and I happen to be going on a fishing trip. Sure, here's 8 or 9 of them.
Wow.
Nice.
So, the way it sounds, detecting or otherwise, Jack can hook you up.
Now, you don't have to. You don't have to step in it, Steve. We'll just leave it right where it is.
Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, he lent me a few rods, and it was very nice of him. But unfortunately, I'm a little rough on equipment, so I'll leave it at that.
Well, I since we're into it, and they're all wondering. So, Leighton.
Yes.
Leighton knows how tough I am on equipment. He's seen my detector.
Yeah, that's right. He's hunted with Steve.
Leighton, you probably know what a Diowa Steez is, right?
Oh yeah.
So this is a fishing rod that cost about $500-600.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. It's a fishing rod. It's a rod. Steve's going fishing. I know Steve takes care of his stuff. No problem. I give him my Daiwa Steves. It came back a little shorter.
Oh, no.
Just only an inch or two, though.
Yeah, it's just the top 2 inches, right? So I'm looking at it like, oh my God. And Steve said, well, whatever it costs to fix, I'll fix it. Steve, it's a $500 rod. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, why would you give me a $500 rod? The upside of that is, when you buy a good quality product, it has a lifetime warranty.
It has a good backed warranty,
and
yes.
It was replaced under warranty, so that let Steve off the hook.
Wow.
Nice.
I think the automatic door on my SUV closed.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was only an inch or two shorter, it sounds like maybe it got too close to the door.
Yeah, I was a little embarrassed because I actually didn't even notice until he pointed it out to me.
Ooh.
It's amazing how rod tips can be pretty important. It'd be like giving me my detector back without a coil on it.
Right?
Anyway, you know what?
Yeah,
It's all in good fun. Steve's a big part of my community. We've developed a friendship. You know, Leighton the same. Leighton graced my doors. He came up. He gave back to the community. He gave to the community generously, and he's on the inner circle of my life. And I'm a sharing guy. You know,
I appreciate
it's a fishing rod. It's a loaf of bread. It's whatever. It's just stuff, right? So
right.
It's hard to gain. It's hard to gain trust. It's hard to gain good friends. Once you're on the inside and have a good friend, then it's just stuff, and why not?
Well, I certainly do appreciate the kind words, my friend.
Right.
Yeah, and Jack is truly like that.
Material goods.
Yeah, he is like that.
Jack,
In fact, Steve, yeah, I know, and I'm glad you said that because I think Josh and I told Josh just a couple 2 or 3 weeks ago. We've been promoting tonight's show right along as soon as Jack was willing to sit down with us, which is kind of a rare thing for him. So again, we appreciate that. But I was going to say, once you are on that inner circle, like you said, Jack, folks listening, he's not kidding. He treats you like family. I remember you distinctly telling me, "You're here. You want to go in there, you go in there, you do your thing, and need something, let me know, and we'll take care of you." So again, I really do appreciate that.
What I think the exact words were, because I remember like it was yesterday.
Go ahead.
If you screw this up, you're going to be a bad smell in somebody's basement.
I don't quite remember that. Do you remember that, Steve?
Steve's going, I don't know. I just borrowed a fishing rod.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, speaking of that,
I haven't fished since.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But on the other hand, I appreciate the forwardness about this because, Steve's been telling me for the last 3-4 years, we're going to come down. I keep telling him the first 2 weeks of June, that's the best time to come fishing. Hear me out, Steve, before you jump in. I appreciate that, Jack, that you let me know how he took care of your equipment because now, I don't know, I might have to get another set of rods just to let him use.
Josh, you still there? Josh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't hear Leighton. He's breaking up.
No,
he kind of went in and out there. Are you there, Leighton?
Yeah, knock it off, Steve.
Well,
anyway.
I think this hobby has proven itself worthy. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that everybody listening tonight has met somebody or a group of people that mean something a little more than a casual acquaintance. They've made friends along the way. And for a hobby that really could take on a very selfish tone, a very me and only me attitude, I think that
mine.
I think that really what I witnessed is exactly opposite of that. I see small groups of people sharing, and then larger groups of people sharing infinitely. A good example was in March, we had a seminar in the store, and we were talking about metal detectors. We talked about the new ACE series, 200, 300, 400. We talked about the new CTX 3030 with the upgrades and things like that. You know, as part of our normal spiel, Steve did a little chat with Pete and Ryan. We had Clive Clinic in talking about some underwater detecting and some of the books that he's written and such. And you know what? We really tried to keep that portion of it minimal. And I think that it was around or under 2 hours. We broke for lunch, and then we did a barbecue for everybody, and then we started a show and tell. And we did a contest where anybody that wanted to bring something with them and tell a story about it, 5 minutes or less, about their find, then we had a panel of judges and we would talk about it. I figured that people are shy. We had 80, 90 people that showed up for the event in the store. I would think that we had the better part of 50 people get up and tell their 5-minute story. And we had young people doing it. We had, when I say young people, like literally teenagers, maybe not even teenagers, 11, 12-year-olds, up to people in their 80s, get up and tell their story. Their excitement of the find itself, the history of what they found, the path they took to get there and who they went with. And Steve, you can pick it up from here on how that went.
Yeah, well, what we realized is that, all of us that were speaking, everybody would get pretty tired of us speaking for too long of a time, and we know that. We can just give our little bit, but we realized that just like everybody, when a detectorist goes and finds something, it's no fun just to take it home and put it in your underwear drawer. You want to tell people about it, right? And we found that day when we invited people to stand up and talk, it was incredible. The finds that people had just blew me away, and the stories, young and old. Like Jack said, the 12-year-old had an incredible story about finding the top of an old cigarette container, like a really old one. And then there was this older guy there that found a gold chain hanging in a tree. It was crazy, and they had it all there, and they loved it. If you ever have a detecting event, you got to incorporate that because people love to do it. Wouldn't you think so, Jack?
Yes, no question. And I take people at their word, and people that are advanced detectorists, people that have spent a lot of time and such. For sure, Steve, you're one, and Bruce Campbell's another, and Ryan and Pete, Clive, found some really cool stuff. And I think we can get fooled into thinking that we're in the top 5%, the top 10%. And Leighton is another one. I mean, some amazing finds. But until you see what people pull out of their pockets,
yeah,
what they found, you really have no idea how many people are finding such very cool stuff. And I was that day, I was blown away. Like, it's one thing having one guy come in with 60 pieces. Mm-hmm. It's a completely different thing to see 60 people come in with 60 unique, cool pieces. It was staggering.
Yeah, there was diamond studded crosses, and there was it was incredible. Like the finds just kept on coming and coming. And let me just add this before it gets forgotten. That whole event that day, everybody came, they were given lunch, and the prizes that everybody got at the end was phenomenal. There was metal detectors given away. There was pouches and bags and pinpoint, all kinds of stuff. And that was completely free. Jack did that entirely free for everybody.
Very cool.
Free is good.
Yeah,
Free is very
people
good.
like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I like
I know
the
Leighton
sound of
loves
that
free.
price.
Oh, you know I do, buddy. $3.99, man. Call me anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I say, wouldn't it be great that all of us, throughout the nation would have somebody like Jack to support us? Like everybody needs that kind of a retailer around that really supports the Detectors. We're very, very fortunate here in Canada to have Jack and Radio World.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's very interesting, too, I think, that because we've talked to a number of people in the hobby, and many of those who are involved in some sort of sales or distribution of equipment in the hobby. And we find that, they really enjoyed the hobby so much, they took that next step to get into it that much more serious by providing customer service, equipment, and sales and stuff like that. And then here's Jack that I started selling the stuff, and, I'll go out and hunt a little bit, but we needed a distributor, basically.
Well, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful for my customers, for good business. It's not just a buzzword. It's a philosophy. We've been doing it for many, many years for ham radio customers. We're the largest ham radio dealer in Canada. We are the largest marine electronics reseller in Canada, and we just have a very good connection with our customers who are involved in grassroots hobbies. And we had this demand, people looking for metal detectors, and it just became more and more and more, and it really came to light in 2009, where we searched out the very best brands and the best companies to deal with, and we stuck with only two. And although there are a lot of metal detector brands,
right,
and I don't suggest that any of them are inferior, but doing our homework, we decided that we wanted to stick with MindLab and Garrett. And to this day, I don't regret that decision. I think it was a very good decision. It's been very good for us. And I really have no interest in doing other brands at this time because I think we don't want to dilute what we do. I would rather be very good at doing two things than being okay at doing six.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes sense. There's certainly nothing wrong with that train of thought. And like you said, you're dealing with two very good companies.
Great. And, realistically, if you want to buy a White's machine, or if you're really into a Fisher, if you want to buy a Deus machine, all I suggest is you go out and buy it from somebody that's going to give you the very best service, not the very best price, because those are two completely different things.
Absolutely.
And
sometimes you do get what you pay for, and you should stick with a reputable dealer. I
have no problem with somebody doing a very good job at customer service. I think that it's necessary, and it's a good business model. And then that's okay. There's enough meat on the bone for everybody.
Right. Yeah, I've said before on the show, you get online, you can buy a metal detector anywhere. Mm-hmm. What keeps us coming back to the people that we've dealt with in the past, continue to deal with, or what have you, is the customer service. Because in the end of it all, that is what the dealer is selling. That's what the customer keeps coming back for, knowing, hey, this guy's going to take care of me.
Well, it's no different than anything else in life. If you're going to buy a box, and that's all that you require, just the box, you don't need anything else, you'll never go back to ask a question or have a concern, then do what you got to do. But if you're buying a relationship, then you might as well have it with somebody that you're going to win with.
Right.
I tell you, I went to Dominican Republic with Ryan, and when I got back, I found out that salt water had gotten into my machine, so it had to be sent off to Mine Lab. And Jack lent me his machine for the entire time up till today, while my detector was away. Like, I mean, who does that, right?
Right.
So I mean, yeah, the service there is just fantastic. But I'm going to let you guys go because I'm supposed to be packing for I'm going to Curacao tomorrow morning, so I got to get packing.
Well, good luck on the trip. But before you go, when he loaned you his machine, did
it come back 2 inches shorter?
Did he request that you bring it back with the coil?
I tell you what, I was so freaking paranoid about that stupid machine. I was like babying the thing. Like I made up this little thing in my vehicle so it wouldn't get scratched. And when I took it back today, I got out the polish and I polished it all up. And I'm like, okay, I think it's good.
You didn't put any.
Had a little car seat for it.
What's that?
Had a little car seat for it, right?
Exactly. So he's got it back now. It's in good shape, right, Jack?
Sure, let's go with that.
Oh, jeez.
and no orange tape, I assume.
No orange tape on the coil, no. No, it did come back in good shape, and I was happy to do it. Not because I'm a good guy, more so because Steve's got my cell phone number, and I didn't want him phoning me every night asking me if his detector was back yet.
Which I would have done.
Wow.
Well,
we appreciate the call, Steve.
What's that?
I said we certainly appreciate the call.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, you have an awesome night. God bless you guys. I will talk to you when I get back from Curacao.
Yes, travel safe, my friend.
One more thing, Steve.
Yep.
I got a pair of orange fins if you want to use them.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, be safe, buddy, and find some gold, man.
I will absolutely try. You guys have a great night.
All right, talk to you later.
So, you know what? For me in life, that's what it's all about. It's being able to get together with some friends, new and old, yuck it up a bit, tell a story, move on, share, laugh, and go on. And I think that's the great thing about metal detecting hobby. It's not unique, but it is actually probably a little better than some of the other hobbies out there.
Well, you've been very successful in your life. I know, we talked briefly when I was up there last time a couple of years ago about how you started and kind of got into the business and, one thing led to another. And you also have since grown since the last time I've been up there. So maybe you might want to let some of the folks know where you opened up the new store and how big it is and what you carry over there also.
Well, we actually cloned ourselves in a little bit of a mini-me version in Calgary, Alberta in 2014. We looked to Western Canada, somebody that was going to serve middle country, prairies, and west, and Calgary was the perfect opportunity to do that. We have a great little group of 10, 11, 12 employees out there that do a great job. Metal detecting is a big part of their business. We've developed a very good friendship and relationship with several of the metal detecting clubs. Calgary has got a great club. Edmonton has a fantastic club as well, and really promote the hobbies out that way. I think that I can speak for everybody that we are really like to connect with the grassroots hobbyists. And we talked about that seminar that we did in the store. We typically have, 12, 13, 14 seminars a year for different things. We'll do a marine electronics seminar, invite people in on a Saturday, early spring before their boats go in the water and talk about electronics, give them something to eat and a coffee. And, we resolve some issues. And we'll do the same thing for ham radio and different subjects and marine electronics, motorcycle electronics. We do a really big job with that as well, and metal detecting. And I think it's a good time, off season, to get people together, to share about the hobby, to build up that excitement, tell them what's new and going on in the industry, and share. So
That seems to be the key, isn't it? Yeah, I think you hit that right on the head, Jack. You know, you're talking about the time of the year when you have these seminars is preliminary to the season itself. Like you just said, before the boats get wet, before up in Canada when the winter is starting to thaw out for you, you can get in a metal detecting seminar. So it's that excitement, like you said, building the excitement to get everybody up and running. But then comes that other part that we were just talking so long about, is that customer service end of it. When you really need to be there is when you're actually pounding the pavement and really providing what you say you're going to do.
Well, absolutely, because there's nothing important about fixing a metal detector in January in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But if it fails in May, June, July, August, September, October,
right,
it is somebody's lifeline. They focus all of their energy on that, and that's when we need to shine the most. Anybody can fix a metal detector in 2, 3, 4 weeks in the winter. It doesn't matter. There's no urgency for that.
Right. You're in the downtime.
Trip south. But when your detector fails, or there's a concern where you need an accessory, a coil's gone, you need warranty service, if you can't provide that in an ultra timely fashion in the middle of the season, you're dead in the water.
Right.
Right?
Well, here's the perfect example. When I went out, out to Midwest there to visit Josh and do that hunt, that's exactly what happened to me, and that's why I contacted you to get the 11-inch stock coil for the 3030.
Sure, yeah.
I needed it right away, and you guys came through for me, and I was able to still continue the hunt. I mean, I already had plane tickets. I had, there was a lot at stake on my end. So again, thank you.
Yeah,
and I do recall when that was going on. We had even mentioned it on the show that you were really in a bind, and Jack took care of you.
That's
so,
right.
Josh, forgive me. Whereabouts do you live? What area?
Northwest Ohio.
Okay, good. I thought
not too far from you then, actually.
Well, not too far from me at all. And then my in-laws are in Anna, Ohio, which is. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
Not far from you.
Right.
Yeah. So we have a farm there in Anna on I-75 and exit 99.
Nice.
Yeah, we do a little detecting. I've been detecting there at Grand Lake St. Mary's a few times, and
there, you just nailed it. I was in that mud puddle the other day.
Well, I have family in there that lives right on the lake, on the southeast corner of that property near the wetland. Mm-hmm. And we have lots of family right up through that whole area.
So you're talking there around like the Montezuma area.
I don't know the name of it. I know that I know how to get there, but there's an area that's on the southeast corner of it that is a wildlife preserve, and they are in a new development right beside it, and a big monster home. Yeah, and they have some canals and through that head back into the lake right in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know right where you're talking about.
There's a proud CTX 3030 owner in that development.
Oh, well. I didn't realize there were any other CTX users that close to me.
I was going to say, you got some competition over there, buddy.
Yeah, no wonder it seems like my finds have diminished a little bit.
No kidding.
Exactly.
And then we have, I've got family in Wapak and Jackson Center, and all through that area. That sounds like it's not too far from you.
No, I'm very familiar with all of those, actually.
Well, there you go. It's a small world.
Yeah, Wapak is, it's actually just a little east of me. So, Yeah, definitely small world. And while Steve was on the line with us, I saw we had someone on our listen line, so we probably ought to throw the number for the show out there again if anyone has any questions, comments, yada yada. 419-549-5744, because it's hard to say if they were just listening in or if they actually had a question or comment. But yeah, there's the lake here. Leighton and I were talking about it shortly after we went live. It's a good-sized lake we've got here.
Are you talking about Grand Lake St. Mary's?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I've been on it a few times. Usually we'll get out, go down on a pontoon boat to the very west side. They have fireworks.
Yep.
And I've been down through there and stuff. I haven't been there in a couple of years. It used to be a green, soupy mess. I guess with algae bloom. Have they cleaned that up yet?
It's still green, but from what I hear, we haven't had any problems with algae yet this year. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I guess it's early yet, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, I know the area very well, actually. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that is interesting. Small world.
Now all we got to do is get you out east.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of a problem. As long as you guys you're still wearing your Bruins flag and hat and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
That is something that I have to do, and this year has been kind of crazy, but absolutely, I would love to do that and take you up on your offer and get up there and show you how to fish for the big ones.
Oh, geez. Well, hey, okay.
Oh.
That's okay. I'll just put it on autopilot, and you can catch every fish that gets hooked. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, and probably my finger and whatever else, too.
That's all right. We'll take care of that. I bring Band-Aids.
So, Josh, tell me a little bit about your hunting adventures. How long have you been doing it for?
Oh, I've been doing it a while now, longer than some, but not as long as others. Let's see. I guess you could say I've always kind of been in the dirt, but I've had a detector in my hand a little over 20 years, probably.
Nice.
Had the opportunity to try a few different brands, and they've been all right machines, but MineLab's what works for me.
And you know what? That's fair. I think that the technology is great in their high-end detectors. I think that they're really hard to beat, if they can be beat at all. When I say I don't hunt and I don't detect, and it's because I really don't. But I have been on some pretty cool adventures. We did hunt a portion of James Madison's estate.
Nice.
We did some Civil War sites that have never been hunted before. Exclusive. We had exclusive rights to hunt that property. And that was interesting, finding all different types of 50 cal bullets, and there was badges and buttons and belt buckles and shoe buckles and things like that found. There was I don't know if you know Tim Garton or not.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Tim is a dealer in the Southwest, and I'll have to think of it, but his family originated from that property, and his great grandfather or his great grandfather died on that property, and they had cordoned off the area that the original house was, and they gave him exclusive rights to detect that property for the day. And he found some artifacts that were extremely likely to belong to his family or to his heirs, right?
Very
and
Yeah,
they made a
that's
special plaque, and it was a day that will ever forever be engraved in his mind and in mine on how emotional that was and how he was connected to that property. And it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, he'll never forget that.
Well, and I think that you kind of put it in a great perspective there with the way you had worded that of, even if you don't necessarily get out and hunt very much, when you are getting out there, you're getting to experience the adventure and experience these finds that are being made, getting to see people make these first finds or meaningful finds or significant finds to them or to the property.
Exactly, and when I listened to arguably 50 people tell me their stories of how they found their finds at our show and tell, I don't know how anybody could not get caught up in the passion and excitement that person had at that moment. And
absolutely, how can you not get excited?
Yes, and I mean, this kid we talked about, 12-year-old boy, 13-year-old boy, he found this tin top that belonged to a care package that was given to every soldier in the First World War, and it may have had a few cigarettes in it. It would have had, maybe a pocket knife, a couple of other trinkets that everybody got issued. And so this kid had found it. It was in near pristine condition, and nice. He had done all of the research and knew all of the history of it, and just the story itself and him connecting with that piece was staggering, and there were some other people that brought things that they knew were of significant value or of significant importance, but they didn't know what it was, and there were enough people there that actually did and could put it. And one of them was a diamond encrusted cross on a very large chain, and it really the chain was a bit of a mystery and things like that. And somebody says, "Well, I know exactly what that is." It was a cross that went around a priest's waist.
Wow!
It was a waist chain with this big diamond encrusted silver or gold, I forget, a cross. And as a matter of fact, the guy did recognize it as something that was above and beyond normal. And he did go to a few of the churches in the area and asked if, over the history, because it had been in the ground for some time, if somebody had lost it. And they told him no. They recognized what it was, told him no, and, that it was meant to be his for obvious reasons. So that was a pretty cool piece, too.
Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the story behind the find, so to speak, is most often very, very interesting.
Well, that's no different than listening to Fizz talk about the Yatosha, right? You can open up your ears and open up your mind and close your eyes and visualize it every time he opens his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Especially with talking to him. Fizz is quite a character, that's for sure.
No different than Leighton.
I do believe when we are out in the field or in the water or wherever, you do find that special item. Josh and I have mentioned this before, Jack, that just like you just got through saying, you may not realize what you were saying in this perspective. We're all out there when we find something. I think we were meant to be the person to find it, just like that cross was found by that person.
Exactly.
Right.
That is a really cool story. And like Josh says, how can you help but not get caught up in something like that? I mean, some of these things. And here's the thing. Here's the great part about the internet, or getting together and doing your like the Hiawatha hunt. I'm sure that's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to even get up there. I mean, the camaraderie is a whole treasure in itself, to get to see you again and see everybody that I haven't seen in a few years and meet new people. I know you're going to have quite a few people there that I know of personally, so we'll see when they show up. So I won't spill the beans quite yet, but I'm just looking forward to seeing what actually does get found. I'm not really going to find something. I'm just going. I want to see what everybody else finds. That is the fun part.
Yeah, a chance to share stories and experience other stories and finds.
Yeah. And if I don't find something real good, Jack, I'll make up a lie.
I know, you'll drop it out of your pocket.
I will. I'll do whatever it takes, man.
Well, what you could do is you could put a little float rod scenario on the end of your thing, because we're going to be right on the beach at Lake Ontario, and you'll be able to cast in and pull something out.
Okay, fair enough. I don't care. I'll bring something. I'll plant it. It's all good, right?
Just watch out if he claims to have found a bull ring.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you didn't see the bull ring. You'll get to see it this time.
Uh-oh, I'm kind of nervous.
No, you're going to enjoy it.
Where
you saw Pete. Go ahead, ask the question.
Where does the bull ring go?
I can't answer that right now. But you have seen Pete Anderson's bull ring.
And there will be photos of it.
There will be. There will be. I will bring it along.
That kind of makes me nervous.
No, that's okay. Don't be nervous. It's all easy. I'll guide you through it.
It'll only seem weird the first time.
Ask Steve about it. He'll tell you about it. He knows all about that. No, really.
Yeah, he's seen the bull ring.
Of course. Yeah, he's had it on a few times.
Jack's probably going, okay, now you guys got me worried.
Right.
I'm not too timid. I can hold my own. I was
yes,
just
you can.
looking on a map, and it's we were talking about the lake there. It's just on your side of the Mercer Wildlife Area there, Josh.
Nice.
Right off 127.
Right.
Yeah, there's a trailer park in there, and then there's a big subdivision just beyond that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I'm up there on kind of the northwest corner of the lake.
Yep. So I guess it's that town that has the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where the fireworks are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where they're out of, Josh? Salina?
Mm-hmm. Good show they put on.
Nice.
Yeah, that's actually very, very close. We'll talk offline sometime, and just compare some names and things like that. You may in fact know the people.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. You never know. I mean, I've had quite a bit of time around the area, we'll say.
No question. So. Good. So I guess, other than that, I actually just want to recap about the hunt at Hiawatha at Center Island, Toronto on June 25th. If people are looking for information, they can visit us at blog.radioworld.ca. They could also find it on the website, the Facebook page, either under Radio World or the Toronto Metal Detecting Club.
Mm-hmm.
And we promised a good time for all. That's all we can do. We're going to have some people there. We're going to have a little bit of food. We're going to have a few drinks. We're going to tell a lot of lies, and we're going to have, a whole lot of fun. And that's really what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. That's the important part. Just getting together with friends, common-minded individuals with like-minded interests, and, having a good time and enjoying everyone's company.
That's for sure.
And, you find something good, well, hey, that's icing on the cake, right, Leighton?
Oh, absolutely. Everything's always an icing to me. If I find nothing, like I said, just getting together with friends and, shooting the bull, so to say, that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if I find anything. I really don't care.
It's always nice
well,
to
and
find
it sounds like you will certainly enjoy your time there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Jack treats us like family. Like he said, once you're in, man. And we do appreciate it.
You're either in. I'm a guy that's either in 100% or out 100%. There's not too much in the middle. And
Yeah,
it's
no
really,
gray area.
It's really, really, really hard to be on the outs.
Right.
Anyway, guys.
Well, nothing wrong with that. That's the kind of people the hobby needs.
Yeah, it's all about fun. I have just received a text that I need to move off for a little bit of tech support on some Garrett walkthroughs I need to provide before the Raptors, before their Friday night game. Of course, I think that they're going to kick Cleveland's ass tonight. And be back in Toronto for the 4th on Friday night. So I'm going to sign out, guys. Do you have any other questions before I go?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. We can wrap it up here. We'll let you go, but thanks for joining us tonight, Jack. It's been a pleasure, and we'll be in contact.
Okay, guys, thanks very much. We'll catch you on Facebook, and we'll catch you down the road as well. Take care.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jack. I'll see you up there soon, my friend.
Well, I'll tell you what, Leighton, that was an interesting gentleman to talk to.
Yeah, I'm glad he sure took the time to come and see us and sit down with us. You know, I know we weren't quite expecting an hour and a half or so, but that's what it turned into basically. And he's a wealth of knowledge, you know, and he's very modest, I have to say. For those who don't know Jack personally, like us, or, you know, like Steve, or, you know, Pete, and the list goes on and on. It would take you hours, literally hours, to go through Radioworld. There's so much stuff in there. I mean, especially if you're a tech savvy gadget man like myself, or whether it's
right.
I mean, you know, we've got our fingers into a little bit all of it. You know, the radios, CB, whether it be ham or CB. He's got the antennas. I mean, he's got the fishing rods, as you heard earlier, the reels. You know, and it's not just one or two of everything. I mean, I'm talking serious amounts of stuff there. And then, of course, all the little tiny bells and whistles that go along with it, you know. And then, of course, you know, the metal detectors and all the accessories, and the list just goes on and on and on. So,
right.
And
folks, great customer service to boot.
Right. And like he said, you know, if you need to get in touch with him, he's always there. Get in touch with someone up there, whether it be Tim or Diane up there in Radioworld. Very easy to find it. You can just log on to the website, and voila, you're right there. You can just click the call in button, and it's right there, very, very readily available. So he's got it all. He's got it all. And I'm looking forward to getting back up there. I know he's improved on the store as I was leaving just a couple of years ago. So I've heard some rumors that he's got quite a few new lineups. So I'm looking forward to getting up there and seeing what it's all about.
Nice. Well, and I'll tell you, I was a little surprised myself. It sounds like we've got a lot in common.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably more than you realize. Like he said, a little bit offline there. Maybe you guys will hit it off. And I know that Steve extended the invitation for you to also go up to that Hiawatha hunt. And I know I keep reiterating. And I know things are a little skinny on that end, but if you can certainly make it, I know we'd love to see you up there. I am definitely going to go this year. I don't know how long it'll take me to get there. It's usually about a 10-hour drive. I am going to drive this time, but I'm looking forward to going. So can't wait. Who knows? Hey, if I am there on a Wednesday night, which I don't think I will be, I should be back in time. But if I am, I will be calling into the show. We'll do it live, and I will keep everyone up to date as to what's going on.
Yeah, there you go. We can, and even if you're not, I'm sure when you get back, we can expect an update. You know how things went, some of the finds people made, some of the stories they shared.
How well the bull ring fit on Jack.
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Maybe work a photo of it into the slideshow.
You know we will. You know it.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Definitely.
It'll be fun. Like I said,
absolutely.
I mean, even honestly, I know, it sounds cliche, but if I don't find, I know we're going to find something. I know I'll find something. But if I didn't find anything, if I just got to just hang with everybody, I mean, that's that's really why I'm going. It really is really why I'm going. So I'm looking forward to meeting a few people I have never met before, and also to re-see some of my friends that I haven't talked with in a couple of years, other than on Skype or,
Right.
maybe through Facebook but yeah, I can't wait. June 25th, folks.
And
I think he said $75 for the...
yeah, 75 Canadian. It's,
right.
I think he said about
55,
60
yeah.
bucks US.
Right, yeah, and I think 40 Canadian for 12 and under, so what's that, 32 bucks, 33 bucks US, something like that? Somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably somewhere right there in that general ballpark.
And where can you go? You get to eat, you get to ride over, you get to hunt, you get to keep everything, and I can guarantee you, I know Jack, again, it was modest, and he didn't say anything about it. Steve
and
did
maybe
pick it
even
up.
walk away with a prize.
Oh, you will walk away with something. I've never been to anything that Jack's put on where you don't walk away with something. So, it's...
yeah, I have
it's
heard
just,
that before, where it's like he goes that extra mile.
Oh, he does.
It may not be anything big,
oh,
but
no,
he makes sure to go that extra mile, in a sense, to make sure that pretty much everybody walks away with something.
Right, you'll get your gift bag and and all that, but you never know. You might walk away with a nice free pinpointer, or a coil cover, or a spade, or who knows? It could be a scoop. You never know. Jack's just that kind of guy. Hey, go get that out of the back, and he'll bring it out and give it away. That's just the way he rolls.
Well, you can't beat that. Certainly a very pleasant guy to know, and quite the character.
Yes, he speaks what's on his mind, I guess we could say.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't.
Come on, life's too short.
It is. I think everybody gets all wrapped up in the all political end of it, and what happened to the good old days, right?
Right. Well, and speaking of you never know what you're going to find and life being too short, I mean, the other day I found out I was a little too short, and apparently sometimes the water's deeper than what you think.
Oh, please enlighten me.
Well, I mean, you get up there near a drop-off and you're already shoulder deep. You don't want to take that next step.
Right. Well, like we said at the beginning of the show, I mean, there's only, it's like being on a ladder, right? There's only one more step after the top rung. Well, it's just the opposite in the water, right? There's only one more step after the sandbar, and that's off.
Right.
So,
and that step could be a very critical one.
It could be, yeah.
That's kind of why I said, well, I'd like to live with the train of thought of living to fight another day, because, unfortunately, in the water like that, there are hazards to deal with, just like anything else, and our body of water has been known to eat people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. People can drown in an inch of water, so you really got to be careful. And fresh water is not as buoyant as salt water, so... another thing to take into consideration. When you're in fresh water, folks, be careful. You're like a lead balloon. People don't realize it. It's very tough to self-float in fresh water. I'm not saying it can't be done, but for the most part, you will eventually sink. So, and you've got yourself a 4 or 5 pound scoop, 4 or 5 pound metal detector. Some people prefer to have their booties on, or a wetsuit, or a 6 mil, whatever you're using. Those fill up with water. Yeah, it's nice and warm. And just because they are buoyant does not mean that they are not sinkable. You will sink.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the water was only 50 degrees.
Yeah, that's cold.
So I did have my full wetsuit on. It's a thicker one. It's like a 5 mil.
Right.
So when I did happen to take that step at the lip, it's a good thing I had the full wetsuit on, because there was a little bit of buoyancy there.
Right.
And you just, Uh-oh, that
Yeah.
wasn't a good step. Take a deep breath and kind of float back over, in a sense.
Right. Well, that's exactly what happened to me the day we had talked about a couple of weeks ago on the show, where I got caught between the second sandbar and the first sandbar. Same exact thing. Was not expecting it, and then all of a sudden, here I am thinking that, oh, gee, I'm heading towards shore. Here's that false sense of security. I'm going towards shore. It's supposed to be getting lower. Well, guess what?
Right.
It was getting
what
deeper.
What gives here? Something's not right.
Exactly. Your mind's telling you one thing, but your feet can't feel the bottom. It's like, okay, this ain't too good. And that's when you're swimming for your life, trying to get across the hole, right? So yeah, you really gotta pay attention to your surroundings. Really
Right.
gotta pay attention to that stuff.
And that's why I backed off.
Mm-hmm. Good
Figured,
move.
You know what?
Nothing's worth it.
There's no
buddy.
sense in getting injured or anything. We'll wait a little bit and then we'll go back. Water level will drop, or plus I've got another plan of attack for it. So
Right. Yeah,
we'll
wait
see
till the
what
fall.
happens.
If it's something specific that you're looking for, like you mentioned earlier or whatever, it'll be there. Nobody else knows about it. So I mean, and believe it or not, in freshwater, something like that piece of material, it'll be just as good as the day it was there. It might have a little bit of algae on it come fall, but outside of that, a little bit of cleanup, that thing will be working brand new again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
And
when you lose an item, it's right where you lost it. It's not going anywhere.
right, unlike here, where we have currents and streams and surges and tides, it might move a little bit, but over there it's right where it fell. So, and in the fall, as you know, there is usually actually beginning of winter. I think, didn't you say around November sometime? Usually they drop that water level, so you should be golden. You should be able to find that with no problem.
Yeah, I think one way or the other we'll get the situation resolved for the gentleman.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting the situation resolved, I guess it's probably about that time.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, it was a pleasure. I am so glad. One more shout out to Jack Summers for taking the time to join us tonight for one of those first and one-of-a-kind interviews, per se, I guess.
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. So, who knows? Maybe we'll have him back again, and we can do a wrap-up of the Hiawatha hunt, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of stories to be had. But with that, hey, I know you're going to ask me. And Leighton, keep it low. Keep it slow, buddy.
That's right. You heard the man. Keep it low, keep it slow. We'll see you all again Sunday for another edition of the Weekend Dig. And
Got a couple of snake stories.
Right. And until then, if you can get out and hunt, get out there and dig up something, post up pictures, let us see them. Until then, thanks for dropping in. We'll see you Sunday, folks.